Paris. It had been over a decade since my last visit to this gothic, romantic city, but I knew I had to return, this time with brushes and paints in hand to capture its spirit on location. These are the plein air paintings I created in the very heart of the city, and in this short film I'll take you with me as I explore Paris once again, attend a legendary art event, and discover what it truly means to paint the city of light. I packed my paints, my brushes and my sketching kit and boarded a train from Brighton to Gatwick Airport. It wasn't long before I was in the air crossing the Channel on a short flight bound for Paris. I arrived late in the afternoon with just enough time to wander through the city before sunset. The streets were alive, souvenir stands, cafes spilling onto the pavements, the sound of conversation carried in the evening air. Just arrived in Paris for the first time in years. Notre Dame Cathedral. I went up there years ago. Pretty amazing. Soon I found myself standing in front of Notre Dame Cathedral. The last time I was here, I climbed its winding staircases and stood amongst the gargoyles on the balcony, looking out across the rooftops of Paris. But now the cathedral was different, partially hidden under scaffolding, still scarred from the fire that devastated it in 2019. From there I walked down toward the river. Around me people sat along the Seine, drinking wine, eating bread and cheese, simply enjoying the end of the day with friends. That's the Paris I loved. Not just the landmarks, but the atmosphere, the rhythm of daily life. That evening, I slipped into a local French restaurant and ordered a classic onion soup. The meal came as a 3-course set, rustic, simple, delicious, and cost just €15. After dinner, I made my way back to the hotel, settled in and rested for the days ahead. The next morning, I headed out on foot to the IAMAG Concept Art event, about a half-hour walk away from my hotel. For me, this was one of the main reasons to return to Paris, to be surrounded by artists, to learn and to connect. Inside, I saw some of the world's best entertainment artists sharing their craft. Live sketches, portfolio reviews, talks about art and storytelling. One of the highlights was hearing again from the legendary Ian McCaig, a designer whose work I've admired for years. I'd first met him at Lightbox Expo in California, and this time I had the chance to speak with him again at the after party, along with his daughter, who is now an art director herself. The whole atmosphere of the event was inspiring. Being in a space filled with professionals at the top of their field reminded me just how powerful art communities can be. And with that energy, I stepped back outside, ready to paint Paris myself. I wandered through fountains, statues and gardens until eventually I found my spot, right in the centre of Paris. I hadn't brought an easel with me, so I kept it simple, sitting on the ground, leaning against the wall for the first study, and later against the trunk of a tree. All around me, other artists had gathered too. Sketchbooks open, canvases propped up, brushes moving quickly to catch the fleeting light. There's something special about painting in that shared silence, surrounded by others who see the world the way you do. For each painting, I began with a quick red pencil sketch to lay out the composition. Then I washed in the sky, letting the watercolour flow, before layering in the distant architecture and the rising trees around it. Finally, I built up depth with watercolour mixed with white gouache, creating both transparency and solidity, light and atmosphere. My second painting was one of Paris's cathedrals, its spires rising above the rooftops. The city's architecture has this way of combining elegance with history, and painting it on plein air forces you to slow down and really see those details. By the end, I had 2 studies that captured not just the look of Paris, but the feeling of being there, grounded in the place and immersed in the moment. After painting, I continued to wander the streets. Paris is a city I first explored more than 10 years ago with my girlfriend at the time. Back then, I visited nearly every major attraction. The Louvre, where I spent hours studying masterpieces, Notre Dame, and even the underground catacombs, a vast, eerie labyrinth beneath the city, lined with bones and shadows. This time I was walking alone, and that changed how I experienced it. I noticed the little things, the patterns on balconies, the way the light hit the cobblestones, the smell of fresh bread drifting from the boulangeries. Paris by day feels alive and radiant. The boulevards lined with trees, the fountains sparkling in the sunlight, statues standing like guardians of history. But Paris by night is something else entirely. Mysterious, alluring, almost cinematic. For an artist, it offers both inspiration and introspection, light and shadow. That's the charm, the mystery, and the eternal allure of Paris. Back in my studio, I can reflect on these 2 plein air studies, not just as paintings, but as memories of the city itself. Both are available for sale, and if you're looking for something more personal, I now create luxury oil painting commissions, portraits, figures, animals, and landscapes. These make a timeless and meaningful gift for a loved one. You'll find a link with all the details below. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this journey through Paris. If you're an artist yourself and want more inspiration, support, and practical help with your own art journey, I'd love to invite you to my free artist community. You'll find the link below. It's a place where we grow together, share work, and keep each other motivated.